An unexpected invitation. Jade Morrison stared at the gold-embossed invitation card sitting on her kitchen counter, wondering for the 100th time if attending was a mistake. The annual Chicago Tech Innovation Gala promised networking opportunities that could transform her struggling freelance design business, but the ticket price had made her wince. Her best friend Riley had practically shoved her out the door that evening, insisting that successful people showed up to these events. Now, standing in the marble lobby of the Kingsley Grand Hotel, Jade tugged nervously at her emerald green dress. She had borrowed it from Riley, who worked in fashion and had impeccable taste. The fabric hugged her curves perfectly, the neckline elegant without being too revealing, and the slit showed just enough leg to be sophisticated. Still, surrounded by women dripping in designer labels and diamonds, Jade felt like an imposter. The lobby encounter. The elevator dinged, and Jade stepped inside, pressing the button for the penthouse ballroom. As the doors began closing, a hand shot through, stopping them. A man entered, and Jade's breath caught in her throat. He was striking in an understated way. Tall, with dark hair that fell slightly over his forehead, sharp cheekbones, and eyes the color of storm clouds. His charcoal suit fit him like it had been crafted specifically for his body, which it probably had. But what really caught her attention was the exhaustion in his eyes, like he carried the weight of something heavy. "Good evening," he said, his voice deep and smooth. His eyes swept over her appreciatively before settling on her face. "Hi," Jade managed, suddenly very aware of the enclosed space. The man leaned against the elevator wall, studying her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "First time at one of these?" Jade nodded. "Is it that obvious?" "You look nervous," he said, but his tone was kind. "Trust me, these events are mostly boring speeches and overpriced champagne. The key is finding someone interesting to talk to." Before Jade could respond, the elevator jolted to a stop between floors. The lights flickered once, then settled into a dim emergency glow. "Stuck between floors." "Perfect," the man muttered, pressing buttons on the panel. Nothing happened. He pulled out his phone, frowning at the screen. No signal. Jade felt panic rising in her chest. She hated small spaces, hated feeling trapped. Her breathing quickened. "Hey!" The man was suddenly in front of her, his hands gentle on her shoulders. "Look at me. You're okay. Breathe with me." His calm presence anchored her. Jade focused on his face, matching her breathing to his slow, steady rhythm. After a moment, the panic subsided. "Better?" he asked softly. "Yes. Thank you." Jade managed a weak smile. "Sorry. I'm not great with enclosed spaces." "Nothing to apologize for." He stepped back, giving her room. "I'm Dominic, by the way." "Jade." They shook hands, and Jade felt electricity shoot up her arm at the contact. From the way Dominic's eyes darkened, he felt it too. An hour in limbo. 30 minutes passed. The hotel staff had responded through the emergency speaker, assuring them a technician was working on the problem. With nothing else to do, Jade and Dominic talked. She learned he worked in technology, though he was vague about specifics. He had moved to Chicago 5 years ago, built something from nothing, and now found himself trapped by success. His honesty surprised her. "What about you?" Dominic asked, settling on the elevator floor beside her. "What brings you to the gala?" Jade hesitated, then decided honesty was fair. "Networking. I run a freelance graphic design business, and I need clients. Real ones, not just friends of friends who pay in exposure." Dominic laughed, the sound genuine and warm. "I respect that. Building something yourself takes courage." "Or desperation," Jade joked, but she appreciated his words. "You know what I think?" Dominic's gaze held hers. "I think you're exactly where you need to be." The air between them shifted, charged with something unspoken. Jade found herself leaning closer, drawn by an invisible force. "This is crazy," she whispered. "We just met." "Sometimes the best things are crazy," Dominic replied, his hand reaching up to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. The kiss. When their lips met, it felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff at the same time. The kiss started soft, tentative, then deepened into something that made Jade forget they were stuck in an elevator. Dominic's hands tangled in her hair, and she gripped his shoulders, needing to feel grounded. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. "I don't do this," he said quietly. "I don't just kiss strangers in elevators." "Me neither," Jade admitted. "But somehow, you don't feel like a stranger." The elevator suddenly lurched back to life, ascending smoothly. They scrambled to their feet, adjusting their clothes just as the doors opened to the penthouse level. The gala and beyond. The ballroom was everything Jade had imagined. Crystal chandeliers, elegant guests, waiters circulating with champagne and appetizers. But she barely noticed any of it. All she could focus on was Dominic beside her, his hand warm on the small of her back as he guided her through the crowd. People kept stopping him, greeting him with deference that made Jade curious. Who was he, exactly? But every time someone approached, Dominic kept the conversations brief, his attention always returning to her. They found a quiet corner near the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Chicago sparkled below them, millions of lights creating a constellation on Earth. "I have a confession," Dominic said, handing her a glass of champagne. "I almost didn't come tonight. Work has been overwhelming, and I was tired of pretending to be interested in small talk." "What changed your mind?" Jade asked. He smiled. "I'm glad I came. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten stuck in an elevator with the most interesting woman I've met in years." Jade felt heat rise to her cheeks. "You're smooth, Dominic. Is that your usual approach?" "There's nothing usual about you, Jade Morrison." They talked for hours, barely noticing when the speeches started or when dinner was served. Jade learned he loved old movies and terrible puns, that he had a younger sister he adored, that he felt lonely despite being surrounded by people all the time. She shared her dreams of expanding her business, her fear of failure, her complicated relationship with her demanding mother. The night continues. As the gala wound down, neither wanted the evening to end. Dominic suggested a walk, and they found themselves strolling through the hotel's rooftop garden, fairy lights twinkling above them. "I want to see you again," Dominic said, stopping beside a fountain. "But I need to tell you something first." Jade's heart sank. Here it comes, she thought. The wife, the girlfriend, the complicated situation that would ruin this perfect night. "I'm not who you think I am," Dominic continued, his expression serious. "My full name is Dominic Blake. I own Blake Technologies." Jade blinked. Blake Technologies was one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. She had read articles about the mysterious CEO who shunned publicity despite his company's success. "You're that Dominic Blake," she said slowly. "The billionaire tech genius everyone writes about." "I'm just a guy who got lucky with good timing and better code," he replied. "But yes. I wanted you to know before this goes any further." Jade processed this information. Part of her wanted to run, intimidated by the massive gap between their worlds. But the man standing in front of her wasn't a billionaire CEO. He was just Dominic, who kissed her in an elevator and made her laugh until her sides hurt. "Okay," she said finally. "Thank you for telling me." Relief flooded his features. "So, you'll let me take you to dinner tomorrow?" "Absolutely not," Jade said, watching his face fall before she smiled. "You'll let me cook you dinner at my apartment. I want you to see my real life, not some expensive restaurant where I can't pronounce anything on the menu." Dominic's answering smile was brilliant. "Deal." The morning after. Jade woke in her own bed, fully clothed, with fuzzy memories of Dominic walking her to her door at 3 in the morning. They had kissed goodnight, sweet and promising, and he had waited until she was safely inside before leaving. She reached for her phone and found a text waiting. Last night was incredible. Still thinking about you. Dinner at your place sounds perfect. How about 7? Dominic. Jade smiled, hugging her phone to her chest. Whatever happened next, last night had been magical. She refused to overthink it or let fear steal her happiness. Her phone rang. Riley's name flashed on the screen. Tell me everything, Riley demanded the moment Jade answered. You disappeared from the gala, and your location showed you at home at 3 in the morning. Who is he? Jade laughed, launching into the story of the elevator, the kiss, the revelation. Riley screamed so loudly Jade had to hold the phone away from her ear. You met Dominic Blake and didn't know who he was? That's like meeting a unicorn. Jade, do you understand how impossible he is to reach? People have been trying to get meetings with him for years. He's just a person, Riley. A really attractive, surprisingly sweet person who makes me feel like I matter. Just a person who happens to be worth billions, Riley countered. But I'm happy for you. You deserve something good. After hanging up, Jade spent the day cleaning her small apartment and planning the menu. Nothing too fancy, just her famous homemade pasta and a simple salad. She wanted Dominic to see the real her, including her modest one-bedroom apartment in a decent but not glamorous neighborhood. Dinner at home. When Dominic arrived at 7 sharp, holding a bottle of wine and flowers, Jade's heart did a complicated flip. He had dressed down, wearing jeans and a casual shirt, but he still looked unfairly handsome. Your place is nice, he said, looking around her apartment with genuine interest. It feels like you. They cooked together, laughing when Jade accidentally splattered sauce on his shirt. Dominic retaliated by dabbing flour on her nose, which led to a flour fight that left them both covered in white powder. Over dinner, they talked about everything and nothing. Dominic asked about her design work, looking through her portfolio with real interest. He offered suggestions without being condescending, treated her skills with respect. You're incredibly talented, he said, studying a logo she had created. Have you thought about expanding? Hiring help? I can't afford help yet, Jade admitted. Most of my clients are small businesses who can't pay premium rates. What if you had access to bigger clients? Corporate work pays better. Jade set down her fork. Dominic, I appreciate the thought, but I don't want handouts. If I'm going to build something, I need to do it on my own merit. Instead of being offended, Dominic looked impressed. I respect that. But promise me you'll think about it? Not because of me, but because you deserve opportunities that match your talent. After dinner, they moved to the couch. Dominic pulled Jade against his side, and she relaxed into his warmth. They watched an old movie, making commentary that had them both laughing. I should go, Dominic said eventually, though he made no move to leave. But I don't want to. Then stay, Jade said softly. Just to sleep. I'm not ready for you to leave yet. They fell asleep on the couch, tangled together, the movie playing forgotten in the background. For the first time in months, Jade felt completely at peace. When she woke in the morning, Dominic was already up, making coffee in her tiny kitchen. He looked so natural there, so right, that Jade's chest tightened with emotion she wasn't ready to name. Good morning, beautiful, he said, handing her a mug. I have to head to the office, but I want to see you again. Tonight? Jade nodded, unable to stop smiling. Tonight. After he left, she floated through her morning routine. She had a client call at 10, but her mind kept wandering to Dominic. The way he looked at her, the way he listened when she talked, the way he made her feel valued and seen. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi Jade. This is Nicole from Blake Technologies HR. We received your application for our senior graphic designer position and would love to schedule an interview. Are you available this week? Jade stared at the message in confusion. She hadn't applied to Blake Technologies. But even as she thought it, realization dawned. Dominic must have submitted her portfolio. Anger flared, hot and immediate. She had specifically told him she didn't want handouts. She grabbed her phone and called him. Jade, he answered warmly. Missing me already? Did you submit my portfolio to your company? She demanded. Silence. Then, yes. But before you get angry, let me explain. I showed your work to my design director, without mentioning I knew you. She was genuinely impressed and wanted to reach out. The interview is real, based on your merit. Jade wanted to stay angry, but his explanation made sense. You promise? This isn't charity. I promise. You're talented enough to work anywhere, Jade. I just helped open a door. Walking through it is up to you. She exhaled slowly. Okay. I'll do the interview. But Dominic, don't do things like this without asking me first. Agreed. I'm sorry. I got excited and overstepped. They talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. Jade looked at the message from Nicole again, then typed a response scheduling an interview for Thursday. Maybe this was fate. Or maybe it was just opportunity. Either way, she was going to prove she belonged there, with or without Dominic Blake's name attached to hers. The interview day. Thursday morning arrived with autumn rain drumming against Jade's window. She had barely slept, running through design concepts and portfolio explanations in her mind. The navy blazer and cream blouse she chose were professional but comfortable, paired with her favorite black heels that gave her confidence. Blake Technologies occupied the top 15 floors of a gleaming skyscraper in downtown Chicago. As Jade stepped into the lobby, all glass and steel and modern art, her stomach twisted with nerves. She checked in with security, received a visitor badge, and took the elevator to the 23rd floor. The design department was everything she had dreamed of. Open concept workspace with natural light flooding through floor-to-ceiling windows, designers hunched over tablets and computers, mood boards covering the walls. A woman in her 40s with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes approached her. Jade Morrison? I'm Nicole Chen, Director of Creative Design. Thank you for coming in. The interview lasted 90 minutes. Nicole walked Jade through various projects, asked thoughtful questions about her design philosophy, and seemed genuinely interested in her responses. 2 other designers joined them, and Jade found herself relaxing as they discussed color theory and brand identity like old friends. Your portfolio is exceptional, Nicole said finally. Fresh perspective, clean execution, and you understand how design serves business objectives. That's rare in someone your age. Jade felt pride bloom in her chest. Thank you. I've worked hard to develop that balance. We'd like to offer you the position, Nicole continued, and Jade's heart nearly stopped. Senior graphic designer, reporting directly to me. The salary is competitive, full benefits, and you'd be working on some of our biggest clients. What do you think? I think yes, Jade breathed, unable to contain her smile. Absolutely yes. They discussed start dates, paperwork, logistics. Jade would begin Monday, giving her just 4 days to wrap up her freelance commitments. As she left the building, clutching the offer letter, she felt like she was floating. Her phone rang. Dominic. How did it go? He asked immediately. I got the job, Jade said, still dazed. Dominic, I really got it. On my own. His pride was audible through the phone. I never doubted you for a second. Congratulations, Jade. You earned this. They celebrated that night at a small Italian restaurant Jade loved, nothing fancy or expensive. Dominic listened as she gushed about the design department, the projects she'd be working on, the talented team. He asked questions, offered congratulations, and never once took credit for the opportunity. "I'm proud of you," he said, raising his wine glass. "Here's to new beginnings." Jade clinked her glass against his, happiness bubbling through her veins like champagne. Everything was falling into place perfectly. Her career, her relationship with Dominic, her future. Nothing could ruin this moment. Monday morning surprise. Jade's first day began with orientation in a conference room with 5 other new hires. They covered company policies, benefits, security protocols. Then Nicole appeared to give them a tour, explaining the company structure as they walked. "Blake Technologies has 3 main divisions," Nicole said. "Software development, which is our largest department. Hardware innovation, which works on physical products. And creative services, which is us. We support both divisions with branding, marketing materials, UI design, everything visual." They passed through different departments, meeting team members. Everyone was friendly, welcoming. Jade felt excitement building. This was really happening. "And here's the executive floor," Nicole said as they stepped off the elevator onto the 30th floor. "You probably won't spend much time up here, but it's good to know where everything is." The executive floor was quieter, more refined. Thick carpet, artwork on the walls, offices with actual doors instead of the open concept below. They walked past conference rooms and assistant desks. "That's our CEO's office," Nicole said, gesturing to double doors at the end of the hall. "Dominic Blake. He's brilliant but pretty private. Keeps to himself mostly. Some people work here for years and never meet him." Jade's steps faltered. She stared at those doors, her mind reeling. Dominic Blake. Her Dominic was the CEO. The actual CEO of the company she now worked for. "You okay?" Nicole asked, noticing Jade's pale face. "Fine," Jade managed. "Just taking it all in." But she wasn't fine. As they returned to the design floor and Nicole showed her to her new desk, Jade's thoughts spun in circles. Why hadn't Dominic told her? They had spent nearly every evening together over the past week. He had kissed her, held her, shared intimate details of his life. But he had never once mentioned that he owned the company she would be working for. She pulled out her phone, typing a quick message. "We need to talk. Tonight." His response came immediately. "Everything okay? I'll come by at 7. Jade threw herself into work, meeting her team, reviewing current projects, trying to push her confusion aside. But it lingered, a dark cloud over what should have been a perfect day. The confrontation. Dominic arrived at 7 sharp, carrying takeout and wearing a concerned expression. Jade let him in without a word, closing the door behind him. "What's wrong?" he asked immediately. "Did something happen at work?" "You tell me," Jade said, crossing her arms. "Did something happen at work? At Blake Technologies? Where you're the CEO?" Dominic set down the food, his expression shifting from concern to understanding. "Jade, I can explain." "You should have told me," she said, her voice shaking with anger and hurt. "Before I interviewed, before I accepted the position. You should have told me you were my boss." "You're right," Dominic said quietly. "I should have. But I was afraid you'd turn down the job if you knew." "Of course I would have turned it down." Jade's voice rose. "Do you know how this looks? The CEO's girlfriend getting hired? Everyone's going to think I slept my way into this position." "No one knows about us," Dominic countered. "I've been very careful. And you got hired because you're talented, not because of me." Jade laughed bitterly. "How can I ever know that for sure now? How can I trust anything about this situation?" Dominic stepped closer, his hands reaching for hers, but Jade pulled away. The hurt in his eyes made her chest ache, but she held firm. "I made a mistake," he admitted. "I got caught up in wanting to spend time with you, and I didn't think through the implications. But Jade, what we have is real. It has nothing to do with work." "Everything has to do with work now," Jade said tiredly. "We can't date, Dominic. There are policies against this. I could lose my job. Then I'll change the policies." "You can't just change company policies because you want to date someone. That's exactly the kind of privileged thinking that makes this impossible." They stood in tense silence, the air between them heavy with unspoken words. Finally, Dominic spoke. "What do you want me to do?" Jade sank onto her couch, suddenly exhausted. "I don't know. I just started this job. It's everything I've worked toward. But I can't have people thinking I only got it because I'm sleeping with the boss." "Then we keep us private," Dominic suggested, sitting carefully beside her. "No one at work knows. We're just Jade and Dominic outside the office." "That's not sustainable," Jade said. "Secrets always come out." "So what's the alternative?" "We break up?" The pain in his voice matched the ache in her chest. Jade didn't answer immediately. She thought about the past week, the connection they had built, the way he made her feel seen and valued. Then she thought about her career, her dreams, everything she had sacrificed to get here. "I need time," she said finally. "To think. To figure out what I want." Dominic nodded slowly, standing. "Take all the time you need. But Jade, I'm not giving up on us. This is worth fighting for." After he left, Jade sat in the silence of her apartment, tears streaming down her face. Why did everything have to be so complicated? Proving herself. The next few weeks were torture. Jade threw herself into work with fierce determination. She arrived early, stayed late, took on extra projects. Every design she produced had to be perfect, beyond reproach. She couldn't give anyone reason to question her abilities. Dominic respected her request for space, but she felt his presence everywhere. In the coffee he had delivered to her desk anonymously. In the encouraging notes Nicole passed along that Jade suspected came from him. In the way her heart jumped every time she heard his voice in the hallway. They didn't speak outside of work. Jade ignored his texts, let his calls go to voicemail. It hurt worse than she expected, like she had amputated a part of herself. Her team noticed. "You okay?" her desk mate Trevor asked one afternoon. "You seem stressed." "Just want to prove myself," Jade replied, not looking up from her screen. "You already have," Trevor said gently. "Your campaign for the Riverside Hotel redesign was brilliant. Nicole keeps showing it to everyone. Relax a little." But Jade couldn't relax. Not when she ran into Dominic in the elevator and had to pretend they were strangers. Not when she heard other employees gossiping about the mysterious CEO who never dated anyone. Not when she lay awake at night, missing him so much her chest physically hurt. 3 weeks after their fight, Nicole called Jade into her office. "Close the door," Nicole said, and Jade's stomach dropped. This was it. Someone had found out about her and Dominic, and she was getting fired. "I have good news," Nicole continued, and Jade's panic eased slightly. "The CEO wants to meet you." Jade's heart stopped. "What?" "Dominic Blake saw your hotel redesign campaign and was very impressed. He wants to discuss a special project with you." "It's a huge opportunity, Jade. The CEO rarely takes personal interest in design work." "When?" Jade managed to ask through numb lips. "This afternoon. 3 o'clock, his office." Nicole beamed. "I'm so proud of you. This could be career-making." Jade walked back to her desk in a daze. A meeting with Dominic. Alone in his office. After 3 weeks of silence and painful distance. At 2:55, she stood outside those imposing double doors, smoothing her dress with sweaty palms. His assistant, a efficient woman named Patricia, smiled at her. "Go right in. He's expecting you." Jade pushed open the door and stepped into Dominic's world. His office was massive, with panoramic views of Chicago. Minimalist furniture, clean lines, a desk that probably cost more than her car. And Dominic, standing by the windows, his back to her. "Close the door, please," he said without turning around. Jade did, her heart hammering. When he finally faced her, the look in his eyes made her breath catch. Longing, pain, love, all swirling together. "You wanted to see me?" Jade said, keeping her voice professional. "I did." Dominic moved toward his desk, pulling out a folder. "I have a project I think you'd be perfect for. Our company is rebranding, new logo, new visual identity across all platforms. I want you to lead the design." Jade stared at him. "That's a massive project." "Yes. It would require working closely with me. Long hours, late nights, direct collaboration." His eyes held hers. "Can you handle that?" The double meaning wasn't lost on her. This was Dominic's way of forcing them back into each other's orbit, of proving they could work together professionally while dealing with their personal feelings. "I can handle it," Jade said, lifting her chin. "I won't let personal issues affect my work." "Good." Dominic's expression remained neutral, but she saw the flicker of pain at her words. "We start Monday. I'll have Patricia schedule our meetings." "Is that all?" Jade asked. "No." Dominic came around the desk, stopping close enough that she could smell his cologne. "I miss you. Every single day, I miss you. And I know you're trying to protect your career, your reputation. But Jade, we were happy. Don't throw that away because you're scared of what people might think." "It's not just what people think," Jade whispered. "It's about who I am. I need to know I earned my place here." "You have earned it. More than anyone else in this building. Your talent speaks for itself." His hand reached up, almost touching her face before he dropped it. "But I'll wait. However long it takes, I'll wait." Jade fled his office before she could do something stupid like kiss him or cry or both. She made it to the bathroom before the tears came, locking herself in a stall and pressing her hands over her mouth to muffle the sobs. She loved him. God help her, she loved Dominic Blake. But she loved her career too, loved the person she was becoming. How could she choose between them? The project begins. Monday arrived, and with it, the rebranding project. Jade found herself in Dominic's office 3 times a week, presenting concepts, discussing strategy, arguing passionately about color palettes and typography. Working with him was exhilarating and exhausting. Dominic was brilliant, pushing her to think bigger, to take risks. But he was also infuriating, questioning every choice, demanding she defend her decisions. "Why this shade of blue?" he asked one evening, studying her mock-ups. "Because it conveys trust and innovation without being corporate cold," Jade explained. "It's approachable but sophisticated. Show me alternatives." Jade gritted her teeth and pulled up different options. They debated for another hour, and by the end, she had to admit his suggestions improved the design. "You're good at this," she said grudgingly. Dominic smiled. "I didn't build a tech empire without understanding visual communication." These sessions became the highlight of Jade's week, even though she tried to pretend otherwise. She loved sparring with Dominic, loved how he challenged her, loved the way his eyes lit up when she presented something that impressed him. One late night, alone in his office reviewing proofs, their hands brushed reaching for the same document. The touch sent electricity through Jade's arm, and when she looked up, Dominic was watching her with such intensity she forgot to breathe. "Jade," he said softly. "I can't keep pretending this is just business. We have to, she whispered, but she didn't pull away. Do we? His hand cupped her face. What if we stopped hiding? Stopped pretending we don't feel this? People would talk. They'd say I only got this project because of you. Let them talk. Anyone who sees your work knows the truth. Jade closed her eyes, leaning into his touch despite her better judgment. I'm scared. So am I, Dominic admitted. I've never felt this way about anyone. It terrifies me. But losing you terrifies me more. When his lips met hers, soft and questioning, Jade couldn't resist anymore. She kissed him back, pouring weeks of loneliness and longing into the contact. His arms came around her, pulling her close, and she melted against him. They broke apart when voices sounded in the hallway outside, reality crashing back. Jade stepped away, smoothing her hair with shaking hands. This is dangerous, she said. I know. Dominic's voice was rough. But I'm willing to risk it if you are. Before Jade could answer, his office door opened. Nicole stood there, surprise crossing her face as she took in the scene. Jade standing too close to Dominic, both of them flushed and breathless. Sorry to interrupt, Nicole said slowly. I was just dropping off the quarterly reports. I can come back. It's fine, Jade said quickly, grabbing her things. I was just leaving. She practically ran from the office, her heart pounding. Nicole had seen them. Nicole knew. How long before everyone knew, the gossip spreads. By Wednesday morning, the whispers had started. Jade felt eyes following her as she walked to her desk. Conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Trevor avoided meeting her gaze. At lunch, sitting alone in the cafeteria, two designers from another team sat nearby. Their voices carried clearly. I heard she's sleeping with Blake, one said. That's how she got the rebranding project. Makes sense, the other replied. She's only been here 6 weeks. No way she earned that kind of access. Jade's appetite vanished. She dumped her tray and returned to her desk, fighting tears. This was exactly what she had feared. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dominic, my office. Now. She found him pacing, fury radiating from every line of his body. I just heard what people are saying. I'm putting a stop to this. You can't, Jade said tiredly. That will only make it worse. Just let it die down. Like hell I will. No one disrespects you like that. Dominic, please. Jade sank into a chair. Fighting this will only confirm what they think. I need to prove myself through my work, not through you defending me. He studied her for a long moment. This is killing you. Yes, she admitted. But I won't run. I won't let them chase me away from something I earned. Dominic crouched in front of her chair, taking her hands. Then I'll support you however you need. But Jade, we need to talk about us. About what we're doing. I know. Jade squeezed his hands. I love working with you. I love being around you. But maybe we need to wait until this project is done. Until I've proven myself beyond doubt. Pain flashed across his face. You want to pause things between us? I want to protect both of us. And our careers. Dominic stood abruptly, turning away. Fine. If that's what you need. The coldness in his voice hurt worse than the gossip. But Jade held firm, even as her heart cracked. This was the right choice. It had to be. The sabotage. 2 weeks before the rebranding launch, disaster struck. Jade arrived at work to find her computer wiped, all her design files gone. Weeks of work, hundreds of hours, vanished. What happened? Nicole demanded, summoned by Jade's panicked call. I don't know. Everything's gone. The backup files, the cloud storage, all of it. IT was called. They dug through systems, ran diagnostics. Finally, the lead technician looked up grimly. Someone deleted everything from inside the network. This wasn't an accident. Jade felt sick. Who would do that? Nicole's expression hardened. We'll find out. But right now, we need to figure out how to recover this project. Jade worked around the clock, recreating designs from memory and earlier sketches. Her team rallied, everyone pitching in to help. Even designers from other departments offered assistance, proving that not everyone believed the gossip. Dominic appeared in the design department at midnight on the third day, finding Jade hunched over her computer, exhausted and close to tears. "Go home," he said gently. "Can't. Launch is in 11 days. Jade, you're going to collapse." He pulled up a chair beside her. "Let me help. You already have 1,000 other things to handle. Nothing more important than this." His hand covered hers on the mouse. "Show me what you need." They worked side by side until dawn, and something shifted between them. The awkward distance of the past weeks faded, replaced by the easy collaboration they had before. Dominic made terrible jokes to keep her awake. Jade threw wadded paper at him when he questioned her font choices. By the time the sun rose, they had recovered 60% of the lost work. "We might actually pull this off," Jade said, allowing herself a moment of hope. "We will pull this off," Dominic corrected. "You're too stubborn to fail." Jade laughed, the sound rusty from disuse. "Is that a compliment?" "The highest I can give." Their eyes met, and the air between them charged with electricity. Dominic's hand came up to cup her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. "I've missed this," he said softly. "Missed you." "I've missed you too," Jade admitted. "So much it hurts." "Then stop pushing me away. Stop letting fear make your decisions." Before Jade could respond, her phone rang. "Nicole. We found who sabotaged your files," Nicole said without preamble. "Can you come to my office?" The reveal. In Nicole's office, a young designer named Bryce sat with his arms crossed, defiant. The IT director stood nearby, holding a tablet with evidence. "Bryce deleted your files," Nicole said, anger clear in her voice. "He also started the rumors about you and Dominic." Jade stared at him. "Why? What did I ever do to you?" "You don't deserve that project," Bryce spat. "I've been here 3 years. I've worked my way up. Then you show up and get handed the company's biggest redesign? It's not fair. So you tried to destroy my work?" Jade's voice shook. "To ruin my career? I wanted to prove you couldn't handle it. That you only got it because you're screwing the boss." The slur hung in the air. Jade felt Dominic tense beside her, but she spoke before he could. "You're wrong," she said quietly. "About all of it. I earned this project through my work. My relationship with Dominic, whatever it is, has nothing to do with my abilities. And you just threw away your career because you were jealous." Nicole nodded. "Bryce, you're fired. Security will escort you out. And if you spread any more lies about Jade, we'll pursue legal action." After Bryce was removed, Nicole turned to Jade. "I owe you an apology. I should have shut down those rumors immediately." "It's okay," Jade said, though it wasn't. The damage had been done. "For what it's worth," Nicole continued, "I've seen your work. You're one of the most talented designers I've ever hired. Anyone who questions that is an idiot." Touched, Jade smiled. "Thank you. That means a lot." As they left Nicole's office, Dominic pulled Jade aside. "Come with me." He led her to the executive floor, past Patricia's empty desk, into his office. But instead of stopping there, he continued to a door Jade had never noticed, hidden in the wall paneling. Inside was a smaller, more intimate space. Comfortable couch, personal photos on the shelves, a view of the lake. Dominic's private retreat. "No one comes in here," he said. "Just me. But I want you to see it." Jade looked around, noting the details. Photos of Dominic with a young woman who must be his sister. Books on leadership and philosophy. A worn baseball glove. "Why are you showing me this?" she asked. "Because I want you to understand who I am beyond the CEO title." Dominic turned to face her. "That night we met in the elevator, you saw me. Just Dominic, not Dominic Blake of Blake Technologies. And I fell in love with you for seeing the real me." Jade's heart stopped. "You love me?" "Completely. Terrifyingly. I love your talent, your stubbornness, the way you fight for what you believe in. I love how you make me laugh, how you challenge me to be better." He stepped closer. "I love you, Jade Morrison. And I'm tired of hiding it." Tears spilled down Jade's cheeks. "I love you too. I've been so scared of what that means, of how it complicates everything." "Life is complicated," Dominic said, wiping away her tears. "But this, us, we're the simplest thing in my world. You make me happy. Everything else is just noise." "What about the company? The policies?" "I'll handle it. Properly this time." He pulled her close. "I'll recuse myself from any decisions about your employment. You'll report to Nicole, and your work will be evaluated by committee." "But Jade, I'm done pretending. Done letting fear keep me from the best thing that's ever happened to me." Jade kissed him, pouring all her love and relief and hope into the contact. This was right. Complicated and risky and absolutely right. The launch. The rebranding launch was a massive success. Jade's designs were praised by everyone from the board of directors to industry publications. The clean, modern aesthetic perfectly captured Blake Technologies' innovation while honoring its history. At the launch party, Jade mingled confidently, accepting congratulations. Her team surrounded her, proud and supportive. Even designers from other departments approached to compliment her work. When Dominic took the stage to give a speech, Jade felt her heart swell. He looked commanding up there, confident and brilliant. And when his eyes found hers in the crowd, his smile was just for her. "This rebranding represents our future," Dominic said. "But more importantly, it represents the incredible talent we have here. I want to specifically thank Jade Morrison, whose vision and dedication brought this to life." The room erupted in applause. Jade felt tears prick her eyes as her team hooped and cheered. After the speech, Dominic made his way through the crowd to her side. He took her hand, the gesture public and deliberate. "What are you doing?" Jade whispered. "Everyone can see." "Good," Dominic replied. "I want them to see. I want everyone to know that you're brilliant, that I'm lucky you tolerate me, and that we're together." Trevor appeared, grinning. "About time you two made it official. We've been taking bets on when Blake would finally admit he was crazy about you." "You knew?" Jade asked, surprised. "Everyone with eyes knew," Trevor laughed. "The way he looks at you isn't subtle. But for the record, no one thinks you don't deserve your success. Your work speaks for itself." Other team members echoed the sentiment, and Jade felt the last of her fears dissolve. She had proven herself. She had earned her place. And she had found love in the most unexpected way. 6 months later. Jade stood in her new office, still marveling at the title on the door. Creative Director. Nicole had retired, and Jade had been promoted to lead the entire department. "Admiring your nameplate again?" Dominic asked, leaning in the doorway. "It never gets old," Jade admitted, turning to face him. He crossed the room and pulled her into his arms. "I'm proud of you. You've transformed this department. I had a good role model, Jade said, kissing him softly. Their relationship had evolved into something steady and strong. They maintained professional boundaries at work, but everyone knew they were together. Some people still gossiped, but most respected their relationship. Dominic's sister Rachel had visited last month and declared Jade her favorite person. "You make my brother human again," she had said. I wasn't sure that was possible. Now, Dominic pulled a small box from his pocket. "I have something for you." Jade's heart jumped. "Dominic. Open it first before you panic," he said, smiling. Inside was a key. Jade looked up, confused. "It's to my place," Dominic explained. "I want you to move in. Officially. Make it our home, not just mine." Relief and joy flooded through Jade. "You scared me. I thought you were proposing." "Not yet," Dominic said, his eyes twinkling. "I'm waiting until you can't possibly claim I'm rushing things." "How long?" "At least another month," he teased, then grew serious. "Jade, that night in the elevator changed my life. You changed my life. I want to build a future with you. Home, family, everything." Jade threw her arms around his neck. "Yes to moving in. Yes to the future. Yes to everything." They kissed, sweet and deep and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. "I love you, Jade Morrison." "I love you too, Dominic Blake." Outside her office, life at Blake Technologies continued. Designers worked on projects, meetings filled conference rooms, the business of innovation carried on. But in that moment, none of it mattered. All that mattered was this: two people who had found each other in an elevator, who had fought through complications and fear, who had chosen love over everything else. Sometimes the best things in life were unexpected. Sometimes they were complicated. But sometimes, they were absolutely worth it. Epilogue, 1 year later. Jade stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her cream-colored dress. Simple but elegant, perfect for a small ceremony in Dominic's lakeside home. "You look beautiful," Rachel said, fussing with Jade's hair. "I'm nervous," Jade admitted. "Good nervous or bad nervous?" "The best kind of nervous." A knock on the door revealed Nicole, holding a bouquet. "These just arrived. Dominic wanted you to have them before the ceremony." The flowers were perfect, wildflowers mixed with elegant roses. The card read, "You're my best surprise. I can't wait to marry you. D." Jade's eyes filled with tears. "Don't cry yet," Rachel laughed. "Save it for the actual wedding." The ceremony was intimate, just family and close friends. Dominic stood at the makeshift altar by the lake, looking impossibly handsome in his navy suit. When Jade walked toward him, his expression made her forget everyone else existed. "Hi," she whispered when she reached him. "Hi," he whispered back, taking her hands. The officiant spoke about love and commitment, but Jade barely heard. She was too busy memorizing this moment: the way sunlight caught in Dominic's hair, the warmth of his hands, the absolute certainty in his eyes. When they exchanged vows, Dominic's voice was thick with emotion. "Jade, you saw me when I was invisible. You challenged me when I needed challenging. You loved me when I didn't think I was capable of being loved. I promise to support your dreams, to celebrate your victories, to stand beside you through everything. You're my partner, my love, my home." Jade's tears fell freely as she spoke her own vows. "Dominic, you taught me to be brave. To believe in myself. To choose love even when it's scary. I promise to always see you, the real you. To challenge you when you need it and support you always. You're my unexpected miracle, and I'm so grateful I got stuck in that elevator with you." Laughter rippled through their guests. Dominic grinned, squeezing her hands. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant declared. Dominic pulled Jade into his arms and kissed her as their friends and family cheered. When they finally broke apart, both breathless and beaming, he whispered against her lips. "Best decision I ever made was getting in that elevator." "Best decision I ever made was saying yes to dinner," Jade replied. They walked back down the aisle together, hand in hand, toward whatever came next. And Jade knew with absolute certainty that as long as they faced it together, everything would be perfect. Not the easy kind of perfect. The real kind, built on trust and love and choosing each other every single day. And that was the best kind of perfect there was.